schizophrenic impression with the public. One side believes that all UFOs and the creatures that pilot them are extraterrestrial, while the other side thinks that UFOs are simply the work of overproductive imagination. This creates confusion and uncertainty. So while the New World Order may not be able to control UFOs and the creatures who fly them, they can still control the public's perception of them. The frightening truth is that no one really knows the true natures of UFOs and the beings who pilot them. They could be extraterrestrials, but there is also good evidence that they could be time travelers or from other dimensions, or even from civilizations located in secret caverns underneath our feet. Some people even think that UFOs could be satanic and flown by creatures known by our ancestors as demons. Whatever the real truth is, the UFO creatures aren't telling us. They control the situation entirely. That is what the world's governments are afraid the public will find out. Not that UFOs are real. They know the UFOs are real. What they don't know is who the UFO pilots are, where they come from, or what they really want. We are helpless to prevent them from flying in our skies or even controlling us completely. They have the upper hand, and there is nothing we can do about it. One of the more intriguing aspects of the UFO conspiracy is the continuing rumors of secret underground bases in the United States and other countries. Many of these secret bases are alleged to be cooperatives with the U.S. military and various extraterrestrial races. These stories are nothing new. I heard these rumors circulating in the halls of the Pentagon years before they became public to UFO researchers. There is no doubt that there are secret underground military bases in such locations as Area 51 in Nevada and Pine Gap in Australia. However, it's still open to debate whether or not some of these bases also house UFOs and the alleged aliens who pilot them. I will tell you that the secret NSA remote viewing project that I participated in during my days at Fort Meade, Maryland, did unintentionally view several top secret underground facilities located in the western parts of the United States. We were not allowed to compare notes or even openly discuss our individual responses to target areas. But we did talk to each other after hours, and all of us had the same impressions that some of these bases were involved in contacts with creatures that were not human as we define the terms. Suffice to say that there are secret underground bases out there that contain more than just the normal earthly military hardware. Dulce is a small, quiet town in northern New Mexico. There's nothing about Dulce to distinguish it from the thousands of other towns just like it all across the country. But, according to some, Dulce harbors a deep, dark secret. The secret is harbored deep below ground where allegedly there is an underground base said to be a joint government alien biogenetic laboratory designed to carry out bizarre experiments on animals and even humans. Some of what we know about the Dulce facility comes from a former security guard named Thomas Costello. In late 1979, Thomas could no longer cope with the awesome reality he had to confront. As a high-level security officer at the top-secret base, he had seen things that left him deeply disturbed. After careful consideration, he decided to desert the facility and take a few items with him as proof of his fantastic story. Using a small camera, he took over 30 photos of areas within the multi-level complex. He collected documents and removed a security videotape from the control center which showed various camera views of the hallways, labs, U.S. government personnel, and even what he said were aliens. Then, by shutting off the alarm and camera system in one of the over 100 exits to the surface, he left the facility with his shocking evidence. The originals were hidden after 5 sets of copies were made and distributed. Thomas was ready to go into hiding, but when he went to pick up his wife and young son, he found a van and government agents waiting. His wife and child had been kidnapped. He had been betrayed by a fellow worker. The agents wanted what Thomas had taken from the facility in order to get his wife and son back. However, it became apparent to him that his family was going to be used in biological experiments and were not going to be returned unharmed. At that point, he decided to disappear. Thomas alleges that there are over 18,000 short grays at the Dulce facility, and that he saw creatures that he called reptilian humanoids. The multi-level facility at Dulce is reported to have a central hub which is controlled by base security. The security level goes up as one descends to lower levels. Thomas had an Ultra 7 clearance. He knew of 7 sub-levels, but there may have been more. Most of the aliens supposedly were on levels 5, 6, and 7, with alien housing on level 5. The only sign in English was over the tube shuttle station hallway, which read, "To Los Alamos." Connections go from Dulce to the Page, Arizona facility, then onto an underground base below Area 51. Tube shuttles go to and from Dulce to facilities all over the western United States. There appears to be a vast network of tube shuttles connections under the United States which extends into a global system of tunnels and sub-cities. At the Dulce base, most signs on doors and hallways are in the alien symbol language and a universal symbol system understood by humans and aliens. Thomas stated that after the second level, everyone is weighed in the nude, then given a uniform. The weight of the person is put on a computer ID card each day. A change in weight of over 3 pounds requires a physical exam and x-ray. All elevators are controlled magnetically. There are no elevator cables. The magnetic system is inside the walls of the elevator shaft. There are no normal electrical controls. Everything is controlled by advanced magnetics, including lighting. Level 1 contains the garage for street maintenance. Level 2 contains the garage for trains, shuttles, tunnel boring machines, and disc maintenance. The studies on Level 4 include human aura research, as well as all aspects of telepathy, hypnosis, and dreams. Thomas says that they know how to separate the bioplasmic body from the physical body to place an alien entity life force matrix within a human body after removing the soul life force matrix of the human. Level 6 is privately called Nightmare Hall. It holds the genetic labs where experiments are done on fish, seals, birds, and mice that are vastly altered from their original form. There are multi-armed and multi-legged humans and several cages and vats of humanoid, bat-like creatures as tall as 7 feet. The aliens have taught the humans a lot about genetics, things both useful and dangerous. The gray and reptoid species are highly analytical and technologically oriented. They have had ancient conflicts with the Nordic humans and other space societies and may be staging here for a future conflict. Intensely into computing and bioengineering scientists, they are led to doing reckless experiments without regard for what we consider to be ethical and empathetic conduct towards other living creatures. It was when Thomas encountered humans in cages on level 7 of the Dulce facility that things finally reached a climax for him. Row after row of thousands of humans, human mixture remains, and embryos of humanoids were kept in cold storage. He says he frequently encountered humans in cages, usually dazed or drugged, but sometimes they cried and begged for help. The workers were told that these people were hopelessly insane and involved in murder. Schneider claimed that back in 1954, under the Eisenhower administration, the federal government decided to circumvent the Constitution of the United States and form a treaty with alien entities. It was called the 1954 Granada Treaty, which basically made the agreement that the aliens involved could take some cows now and then and also test their implanting techniques on a few select human beings. But they had to give details to the government about the people. In return, the United States would get alien technology that would help them defeat the Russians. However, after the bases were built and the aliens firmly established, the government realized that they had been fooled. There was no promised technology, and the aliens did what they wanted when they wanted. They were in total control. Schneider said that he was involved in building an addition to the deep underground military base at Dulce. The base goes down 7 levels and is over 2.5 miles deep. At that particular time, workers had drilled 4 holes in the desert and were going to link them together and blow out large sections at a time. Schneider's job was to go down the holes and check the rock samples and recommend the explosives to deal with the particular rock. As the crew was headed down, they found themselves amidst a large cavern that was full of creatures known as the Large Greys. Schneider says that they had surprised a whole underground base of existing aliens. Later, they found out that the creatures had been living on our planet for a long time, perhaps 1,000,000 years. According to the late Bill Cooper, a confrontation broke out between the human scientists and the aliens at the Dulce Underground Lab. The aliens took the scientists hostage, and Delta forces were sent in to free them, but they were no match for the aliens' weapons. 66 people were killed during this action. As a result, we withdrew all joint projects for at least 2 years. Some remote viewers who were in the same NSA operation as myself told me personally that centuries ago, the people who were the creators of what we now call the New World Order entered into a pact with an alien nation hidden within the Earth. The U.S. government in 1933 agreed to trade animals in exchange for high-tech knowledge and to allow the creatures to use underground bases in the western United States. A special group was formed to deal with these alien beings. In the 1940s, these creatures began shifting their focus of operations from Central and South America to the United States. These creatures could be the same beings who were in contact and helping the German Nazis. Now they are slowly spreading like a cancer to the United States. Skeptics have expressed doubts about the existence of secret underground bases. They always ask, where's all the dirt? Well, one method of tunneling that has been available to the military since the 1950s and is now just being considered for public use is nuclear tunnel boring. The method for tunneling involves melting rock using a machine in which the molten material can be disposed adjacent to the boring zone in cracks in the rock and as a glassy wall lining of the formed tunnel. The heat source can be electrical or nuclear, but for deep drilling, a nuclear reactor is preferred. This amazing boring device is capable of drilling at depths totally inaccessible with previous drilling techniques. The stories that surround the secret underground bases and tunnels all seem to be connected to a thread involving the same types of alleged UFO entities, namely the Greys and reptilians. These are beings that are fairly recent to the UFO scene, emerging as the dominant creatures associated with UFOs sometime in the early 1970s. Before that time, most reported UFO contacts involved human-looking aliens, often referred to as the Nordics because of their light skin, blue eyes, and blonde hair. There were also small humanoids sighted starting in the early 1950s, but the big-eyed Greys and the dinosaur-like reptilians were not reported until much later. It is almost as if these creatures' true form is being kept from us. Possibly they are able to disguise themselves to fit our cultural expectations. However, they always keep a humanoid appearance, 1 head, 2 arms, 2 legs. They look more like us than an actual alien probably would. Given how diverse life is here on Earth, it would be almost impossible for life on another planet to develop looking so much like us. Maybe they look so much like us because we are actually much closer to them than we know. So where do UFOs and their pilots actually come from? Do they come from outer space or from hidden places deep underground? Maybe the reptilians aren't from some distant planet. Maybe they are from Earth just like us. Maybe they are descendants of the ancient dinosaurs that lived millions of years ago. Maybe they didn't become extinct. Maybe, like us, they evolved into intelligent creatures who built their own civilization and science. Possibly some left to conquer outer space while others stayed behind to build their society deep underground. Maybe now they're returning to Earth, their home planet, to find it overrun with a bunch of talking monkeys. So now we find ourselves back to square one, asking the same questions but not getting the answers. Perhaps there are no real answers, only mysteries upon mysteries. This is probably why we are seeing a battle taking place within the groups that control what little actual information there is about UFOs. There is the Aquarius group, associated with the New World Order controlled MJ-12, and opposing them is a group known as COM-12. COM-12 is reportedly trying to sustain a rearguard